Hey guys, and welcome to another video. In this video I'll be reviewing Tottenham, 8th in the Premier League, on 41 points at this moment. It's a very sort of odd season in terms of, for Tottenham. Obviously they have aspirations of obviously being a top four side and obviously trying to challenge for the title. Obviously last season, going all the way in the Champions League and obviously ultimately coming up short, coming runners up. Obviously looks to have impacted them a lot more than obviously Liverpool, who obviously gone on to destroy everyone in the league pretty much. Tottenham have obviously they've gone on a bit of a free fall, I think personally. And obviously with Pochettino getting sacked or choosing to leave, whichever way you want to look at it. And then obviously an unexpected Jose Mourinho coming in to take the reins. And what has been odd patches where you thought, okay, Tottenham might have a better season. Recently, especially before the season got suspended, you definitely sort of looked at Tottenham and thought, what sort of side am I looking at here? Is Mourinho the right fit? What players should potentially be looking at going, what players have they got to keep, that kind of thing. Anyway, I'll start off by reviewing in the cup competitions. So in the FA Cup, they lost to Norwich on penalties. It was a very dull game, a game that came in the midst of a lot of Premier League fixtures. Tottenham ultimately chopped and changed, as did Norwich. And it's just a very disjointed performance. Got taken to penalties, and then obviously Norwich winning that game on penalties. At that time, obviously they'd been knocked out the other two, so they were sort of thinking, FA Cup, only chance to get some silverware, and they get knocked out to Norwich. No disrespect to Norwich, they defended very well, fought for each other, and ultimately Krul was the hero for them in saving the penalties. But yeah, that was their only realistic chance of silverware there, and they ultimately came up short in that. League Cup, they lost to Colchester on penalties. Again, a very disjointed performance from Spurs. I think they actually underestimated Colchester. They didn't play very well. They struggled to break Colchester down. And Colchester got to penalties and they ultimately won that game. Obviously, very poor performance that from Tottenham in that game. They should have obviously, everyone expected them to beat Colchester. And obviously Colchester relishing that underdog status. They obviously had beaten Palace, beaten some other Premier League teams or Championship teams on the way. Were confident enough to try and take the game to Spurs. And obviously, the longer it went on 0-0, the longer they sort of thought, maybe we've got a chance here. And ultimately took it all the way to penalties and then won on that. So, very poor in both cup competitions there from Tottenham. The Champions League, they lost to RB Leipzig in the round of 16. A really, really poor showing from Tottenham in that game. They did okay sort of in the group stages, and you're thinking, okay, I personally didn't think they were going to go as far as they did last season. I just didn't think, even though it's relatively the same team, I just don't think it has that same sort of aura about it with Mourinho, the manager. And the first leg really, really did destroy them. They played really poor. It was probably the poorest I've seen Tottenham play in Europe for a while. And Leipzig, they are a good upcoming team, but they're not the best. And when Tottenham got them in the draw, so I think, okay, that's a good draw for Tottenham. And again, maybe they did underestimate them and thought, okay, we got the easiest one, we're guaranteed to go through. But they've got a decent striker up front in Werner, who a lot of Premier League teams are looking at, and they're a good overall team, good balance to their team. And they made Tottenham look like amateurs in that game. And they lost. I think Leipzig won over the two legs, 4-0 on aggregate, something like that. So yeah, no silverware for Tottenham this season. A very disappointing showing in all cup competitions for Tottenham. Going to sort of a main review on that. Obviously, Pochettino getting sacked. Even though he was one of the best managers, probably. Obviously, a lot of people say, well, he didn't win us any silverware. But, maybe if he had stayed a bit longer, he could have done. But he obviously wanted to spend a bit of money, improve the squad further and take it further than they got last season, i.e. to winning something. And obviously their owner, Daniel Levy, he's a shrewd businessman, let's put it that way. He knows when to sort of invest in stuff, and he's quite cautious. And that's why he's notoriously a tough negotiator in terms of when someone wants a Tottenham player, or when Tottenham are trying to buy a player, and when he's negotiating with the other club. Obviously, as I said, Pochettino wanted some new players, wanted an upgrade on his squad to basically get some better players and push for that silverware, and Levy didn't agree. And, Pochettino came out in some of his press conferences saying, this is what we need to do, and hopefully I get the support. And I think ultimately, Pochettino just lost faith. At the end of the day, when you can see that you need improvements and the owner isn't backing you, you're gonna fall out, and that's why he wanted to go. Ultimately, then he went, or he was sacked after bad run of results, and they decided to bring in Jose Mourinho. It did seem sort of an odd appointment at first, I have to admit, because Tottenham fans don't like Mourinho, and then he's got a track record of spending big in the transfer window, and Levy obviously doesn't hardly spend money at all. So when I saw that, it was a sort of like, what a strange appointment. And obviously Tottenham like bringing youth players through, and obviously Mourinho has a track record of not bringing youth through. So overall, it just seemed a very, very odd appointment. Obviously, the sort of first few games or first few months, Tottenham looked a bit more solid defensively, and you thought, okay, maybe it is going to be a good appointment. But certainly towards the end, before the season got suspended, Tottenham just haven't looked good at all. And Mourinho's done this sort of standard Mourinho thing of moaning about everything and that sort of thing. But I just don't think Tottenham just aren't that same team anymore. And I think it's going to take more than Mourinho to get them back to what they were, Pochettino before that. I think maybe if Mourinho does go or whatever, I think they need to get a manager in that's got a track record of playing well with teams that don't spend a lot and working well with what he's got. Someone on that Pochettino level. But anyway, that's my opinion of Tottenham currently in the manager sense. The players as well have looked very low on confidence, especially sort of players like Dele Alli, Kane, Son's blown hot and cold, Lucas Moura, those kind of players. Lloris hasn't looked the same keeper that he is, that we know how good he is. He hasn't looked like the same keeper. And players who we were raving about, a few seasons before. I don't know if it is the manager or it's just they are unhappy that Pochettino's gone, or they're unhappy with above. There's a lot of sort of bad feeling, I think, at Spurs. And it's maybe something that will come out, maybe. And we'll see what happens with that. Also, there's a lot of rumours about obviously their star striker Harry Kane. Obviously, he's come out in the press and said that if he does want to win trophies, and if he feels that Tottenham aren't going to be winning trophies, then he could potentially look at leaving. Now, obviously, Kane would probably, in this day and age in the transfer market, would probably take about 90 million plus for probably Levy to start negotiating and Tottenham to open up to sell. Now, obviously, it's more a case of who could they get in to replace. Because obviously at times this season, when Kane has been injured, they've looked short. They have looked very, and I wouldn't say average, but they have looked very short and devoid of ideas. They've tried to play Lucas Moura up front. They've tried to play Son up front. They've got this obviously youngster Troy Parrott, but Mourinho said, oh, he's not ready, but he's never given him a chance. So how are you going to know if he's not ready if you don't give him a chance? You know, they've tried loads of different things, but it just hasn't worked. That ultimately shows, you know, if Kane was to go and Levy goes, oh, well, I'm going to see what we've got. They haven't got anything. So they need to buy someone, but are they going to buy someone? Who knows? But yeah, definitely, if obviously Kane decides to go, and obviously Tottenham have got a lot of things to think about in terms of who they're going to bring in as a replacement. Obviously, their position in the league obviously isn't the best, as obviously a Tottenham fan would say and expect. They would expect them to be in the top four. But I'm sort of thinking maybe a season out of Europe for them would possibly benefit them. Obviously, with the money that you get from Europe and all the broadcasting and all that kind of stuff, they would lose money. But ultimately, maybe just having that stress taken away of Europe, maybe it would benefit them. Maybe having a sort of fresh players week in, week out, you know, maybe they could push a bit more for like the FA Cup, League Cups, because they obviously not, because they wouldn't be in Europe, and maybe they could get that silverware hoodoo off their shoulders, and then, you know, maybe have not been in Europe, could see them push for the title maybe, and, you know, finish as high as they possibly can, maybe. But yeah, certainly a average season in my view for Tottenham, for a club like Tottenham. Definitely a lot of things that they need to do to get them back on that level again that they were before. In my opinion, it's got to be a lot better, definitely. But that's where they are at the moment, 8th. Very inconsistent this season, and that's why they are where they are. In my view, for their rating, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think it has been a very poor season for Tottenham standards. Definitely the cup competitions have been poor. And again, another season without silverware. Another season where rival fans are going to take the mick out of them because they still haven't won a trophy since the League Cup in 2008. Anyway, guys, if any Tottenham fans stumble across this video, do you agree with what I've said? What do you think you need to do to get back to that level that you were at when Pochettino was in charge last season? Do you think my rating is a bit harsh? And what do you think is in store for you for the rest of the season if it resumes? And what do you think is going to happen next season? Do you think Jose Mourinho will still be in charge? Or do you think there's another manager going to come in and sort of regroup or redevelop Tottenham as a club or as a team? Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be Arsenal. Take care, guys, and goodbye.